Hello. Oops. That was my keys. Hello and welcome. So it's been a while since I made a video, which is because even though it's the summer, I started summer classes, which is quite odd for me because this is the first ever summer where I chose to take summer classes, which I've never been done before. Like the last time I actually took a summer class was way back in middle school, and that isn't even college. That's just I don't even know what I did. Like I took just basic classes. I don't know. But anyway, just a heads up, the footage you're gonna see isn't gonna be related to what I'm saying. It's just backing footage, and it's just gonna be old footage I have laying around my computer. Now, if I don't put it into this video, I may put it in another. Like, I still have a lot of pictures from when I used to be PK. Now, back then, I took pictures because I didn't actually have. I had a really bad computer. Like, it couldn't even do video. So this video is just to talk about stuff. It's probably in no way related to what's actually being shown in the video, but it's just so I could just talk about current events stuff. And just as a disclaimer, the aim isn't like anything I talk about, it's not aiming to be negative about anything or try to push for anything. It's just to talk about something. So recently, I believe Raji did a video about this, as well as I think Jebram did a video about this. Like, Raji's the bot killing guy, and Jebram's the guy who does a lot of agility. But so recently, a lot of people got banned. A lot of high-leveled players got banned. Now, most of them were banned for botting. Some were banned for real-world trading, as well as other reasons, but the majority of them were banned for botting. Now, the odd thing was, like, if you read up further, there was some forum post by Mod Jackmob who does a whole bot busting thing along with other people, but he noted that some of them were first time offenders. So I found this odd because when they introduced the whole bot watch system, they talked about how there would be a 3-strike system, but this system was meant to be like a cushion, so if it does accidentally ban you for botting, it won't be a permanent ban. But here, the bans were permanent, and the way they explained why was because they said that they thoroughly looked through it just to make sure that they actually did it. Now, for this news, I wasn't entirely sure what to think about it because initially when I heard that people were banned, I had mixed feelings because initially I was a little bummed out to hear about it. Like, bummed out that it was a bad thing because I'm not too sure why. But if I were to speculate, it's like I actually do know people who bought, which is it's like if you're so against it, why would you be associated with people like that? Well, it's because for me, the people I know that bought, it's like I've known them for like forever, like way back when I was still in high school, like around 2008, 2010 era, where Bounty Hunter was still out, and these were people I used to PK with. So talking to them, I kind of understand where they're coming from, but the main issue that I found was they saw it as just a lot of grinding. It wasn't fun. So that got me thinking, do people find training fun? For me, myself, I don't find training to be fun at all, which is why the only time I actually train something is if I'm going toward a certain goal that requires it, and it kind of depends on the goal itself. Is it going to be worth it, or is it something I'm not going to use? Like, there's no point going for 99 fletching if I'm not going to use it. So that goes to, is there any fun way to actually train or make money? And has Jagex actually put anything like that in the game? So putting a little thought into it, I guess that's what the point of minigames and distraction and diversions are. I guess it's like an alternative way that is trying to make it fun in somehow, as well as get some XP doing it. Which, oddly, there is pretty much one for every single type of content there is. There's like skilling, there's single player focused distraction and diversion slash minigames, and there's like PvP, PvE. Single players are like D&D's like Fish Flingers, Tears of Gothics. I'm not sure if Treasure Trail counts as one, but that's like a fun way. Treasure Trail is a fun way to actually. It's not good money because of how rare the good items are, but it's a way to make money that's not just killing bosses. Then PvE could be like something like Troll Invasion, where you kill monsters and then you get XP at the end, although it's only monthly, but it is an alternative way to get XP. And in terms of making getting training fun, that's kind of okay for me. But it's like I find that more fun than going to actually training Hunter, which I really, really despise. Then PvP minigames could be like Sinkholes, or is that D&D? It doesn't matter anyway. Where it offers you XP, and it offers you enough XP for you to consider, and it's a I'm just gonna say different way to train Degenerate, which is if you don't like the normal way to train Degenerate, this would be awesome. So from that aspect, I could kind of understand why they put something like that where you get decent amount of XP for doing something that's fun to some people. My only problem with this so far is that a lot of the minigames and destruction and divergence lately have been focused around the single player aspect rather than the multiplayer aspect, which is kind of weird considering we're playing an MMO, which is massive multiplayer online, meaning multiplayer, which is like a lot of the updates I've seen, or maybe I'm just like tunnel visioning when I'm looking through them, but a lot of them have been catering towards the single player aspect rather than multiplayer. I'll probably look more into this later when I have more time to look through the mini games that came out recently. And when I say mini games, I also mean distraction and diversions, but that's kind of long to say. But what do you guys think? Like, do you think they're focusing more on the single player aspect, or have there been updates that have been focused around multiplayer? I'm not sure if Bonfire actually counts as multiplayer, but somewhat it kind of worked. Then there is. This is an MMORPG, the RPG part, which is I find odd because in the entire time I've ever played RuneScape, I don't remember ever making a decision that actually made me feel like that was my own. Rather, most of it, like all the quests, was focused around a set storyline and you just had to follow a single path. And it was very much like that for a very long time. Although this year they've, like for the past couple of months, they keep talking about how they're gonna make this year our year, making it more focused on the players. Where, for the most part, I guess so far it's been going pretty well because one, they've been doing pretty well on banning bots compared to previous years. It's still a problem, but compared to what it used to be, that's kind of okay. I'm okay with that. Then there is content. Also, over the past couple months, they've also been talking about how they're going to make our decisions better, which is thinking back to what I said earlier, where I said that it's kind of weird that I can't think of a single update where I feel I made a difference, where it was my choice and it actually made a difference. And I guess that's what they're trying to address with over. I think this is going to be released with RS3, where they're going to release world events, which they already have some now, but it's not where. Like, I mean, they have world events now, but it doesn't matter if you do this or that. It's kind of just there as a distraction and a diversion. Whereas they plan to, with RS3, they plan to release world events where you get to decide this or that, or even that other thing, and that'll influence future content. So that's kind of, I guess, from that aspect where you feel that your decision doesn't really matter, with them adding that, that's kind of cool. But in my opinion, it really depends on how it's gonna be implemented. Is it gonna be a meaningful decision, or is it like deciding between, oh, what flavor do you like, this or that? So while I'm talking about RS3, oh shoot, a while ago there was this competition for the alpha, the interface alpha, where you could make a preset, send it into competitions at whatever, blah 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 blah, and if it's good, if they choose it, they'll set it as the default preset for RS3, which is kind of cool, and you could kind of put your name on it, so it'll be forever on RS, which is, damn it, I should have, I forgot to do that. I think Raji did it, and I think his was okay, but I would have tweaked it a bit. But like the thing that kind of bugs me the most is that on the alpha you still cannot choose what prayers you can show. Like honestly, once you have like say you have 99 prayers, say you have everything unlocked, at that point you're not gonna use anything under turmoil because pretty much you use Soul Split, Protection Prayer, the three versions of Turmoil, maybe Protect Item, and anything else you're not going to use, and that's just wasted space. So it still bugs me that we can't, even though like the whole alpha is meant to be so that the player could fully customize it, and honestly that is, I mean yeah, like this whole RS3 thing, it's Jagex promoting that, oh hey, we're doing this with the game, we're doing this and that, but compared to more recent games, they're actually kind of just catching up. Like the whole customizable interface, the whole thing where it's better graphics, better render distance, that's been done years ago, and RuneScape is just kind of behind. But it's good that they're catching up, but it's not that they're getting ahead of the game. maybe they're getting ahead for being a browser-based game because RuneScape is browser-based. Everything can be run off a browser, and that's kind of the downside because being browser-based compared to games that requires a downloadable client, there's just so much less you can do. Although maybe with I always have a problem saying this HTML5. But hopefully with that, in terms of graphics, it can aim to be close to what AAA games offer. It's not going to be anywhere near, but it's going to be decent compared to what we had before. But then there's also like a lot of the updates that I can think off the top of my head have been focused around making the game less of a grind, making it easier to access. There was like lodestones. I don't want to put warbands in there because I think that put it a little too far. But warbands was trying to do something different. It wasn't trying to make it like a D&D. It was trying to make it so that it gets people into the wilderness, which it kind of did. But then people went into it with like friends chats where they just had a monopoly over it, and they even sold ranks, which is that's just absurd. I can't believe that actually happened, but that's a whole different issue. But about making the game less of a grind, because from the perspective of a new player, first there is the look at the game. Does it look good? Is it something you may want to play? Which you can see from videos, from trailers, if they actually have one. And that's how people get attracted to a game. Aside from like referrals from other people, then what keeps people actually playing the game is the gameplay, which they won't actually know until they actually play it, unless it shows in the actual gameplay trailer. Then after that, there's a whole level progression. Is it too slow or is it too fast? If you started new, would you feel that the level progression is just taking too long for you to be continually interested? Like, my problem with a lot of MMOs out there is that training isn't necessarily fun. Rather than making training fun, what I've seen lately from Jagex is that instead of focusing on gameplay, they just focus on handing out XP, like that's the solution to their problem, rather than focusing on the actual problem, which is that training isn't fun. It's not that we want XP, it's that we find the normal training methods to be boring. It's not fun to do. And I think that's the problem they've been having for a while, is that they're only looking at the surface of the problem. People are training towards a goal, but they're not enjoying it because it's just taking forever. So they just see it as, okay, we'll give them free XP, like a mil free XP, and that should keep them happy. But the problem is that it feels like it takes forever because it isn't fun. It feels more of a grind. And people who've actually had fun know that time flies by when you're having fun. You don't even take notice of the time. Hell, like 5 hours can pass by when you're PKing if you're having fun. So that's my take on the situation. What do you guys think? Because it's been a while since I've actually seen an update based on gameplay where you feel that the gameplay is engaging, where it's fun to actually do. But across this video, I've made a lot of points that I probably will not remember. I'll probably have to go over the video a second time, like listen to it, just to remember what my points were. I should probably take notes next time. But so a few quick points. Yes, graphics are used to attract players, but gameplay is what keeps them interested. Rather than focusing on handing out XP, focus on the problem, which is gameplay, which can be done through minigames and distraction and diversion. So this was, I guess, my first ever podcast. It's kind of weird doing it solo, but as always, thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.